Thanks for joining me today at Amazing Charcuterie Boards. Today we are making a summer colorful fruit platter that you can serve up at a cookout, a barbecue, anything that is going to celebrate the colors of the season. So if you don't already, please like and subscribe to this video and my channel. I have lots of videos planned in the coming months all around making charcuterie boards, design, ingredients, all things charcuterie. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. The key to this board is going to be colorful, fresh ingredients. So you can use any ingredients you want, but I would recommend choosing ingredients that are in season and nice and fresh. Start by cutting all of your fruit into big slices that will be easy for people to pick up off the board. This is also going to add a lot of color to your board. You can use honeydew melon or cantaloupe. This cantaloupe is so colorful. I really went with a lot of oranges for this board. So you're going to want to do the same thing. Just cut it open and clean it out and then cut it into nice thin slices. I prefer to cut my cantaloupe and watermelon more into slices rather than wedges, but you can do whatever you prefer. It's also just easier to put onto the board itself. Next, you're going to want to get out your citrus and do the same thing. So to do this, basically, I just cut slices, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back and then cut each of these in half. You want to do this so that the slices kind of cross-sect the kind of wedges that are naturally in the oranges. It just makes it more attractive in the end. And I would definitely choose to use a orange and grapefruits, or to get an orange that has some different color in the center. It just makes it more interesting. Now it's time to put all the ingredients on the board. So you're going to want to start with these big slices, and you're going to just alternate by putting them in different groups, sliding them to arrange them differently, putting some upside down, some right side up, depending on whether you want the fruit showing or the rind showing. And you can just get creative and kind of play around with this. The key is going to be to try to break up the direction of the cuts and the color of the fruit you're using, just to add kind of interest to the board. Of course, you can put your fruit down on your board in big rows, but for this board, I chose to put it in more groups than anything else. Once I have things in place, I go back and I just kind of tilt everything on the side. It just makes it prettier, more attractive. You can get all the colors when you're looking at it from above. So I made this fruit board for kind of an outdoor picnic we were having on our patio, and it was kind of a mid-afternoon, hot summer day, and I made it initially kind of as a refresher. So it was even before we were kind of starting to serve food. My recommendations, if you are serving this, is to make sure that you put it somewhere in the shade, and just try to keep the fruit cool, because that's kind of part of the fun of this board, is that it's so refreshing in the summertime. Once you kind of get to this point of the board, you're going to want to just start trying to fill in all the little holes and little gaps. One of the best parts of this board is that you're going to pile it really high with things so that there's going to be no gaps. So once you have your big things on there, the apples, peaches, oranges, all that stuff, you can start putting on the smaller things like the raspberries, the cherries, and any sort of other blueberries, things like that. So get creative and go back and don't hesitate to change up where things are going, or just adjust as you go, just to make the board look nice. One thing I did not add to this board that you could is just some sort of fruit dip. It can be, there's a number of dips. I actually have a whole article about dips that I will put in below this article or this video, but definitely consider adding that either to the side or right on the board itself. I really just didn't have enough room on this board to put a fruit dip, but it is kind of a nice fun addition. So once you have all of your fruit on the board, you're going to want to think about what you want as a garnish. And so I decided I wanted to put some edible flowers on here. So these are actually off our quince tree, and then I also used some wild violets. Definitely check to make sure that you are not putting poisonous plants on your charcuterie board. But you can go ahead and check out the list I have, or just make sure you find a reputable site, whether they're edible or not. And this just really adds such an important element to charcuterie board to have a little bit of garnish on there. And it just makes it fun and even more colorful. I really like the violets on here just because there's such a contrast in terms of the color, the purple color, against all of the red and oranges and pinks on the board itself. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed today's board. If you haven't already, like and subscribe my channel, please, and come back here, check me out for more charcuterie board ideas.